What's going on, Linux nerds? It's Jake. Today we are going to dig into Void MK Live. This is a really cool tool that I've been playing around with for a while. And what it is Void's basically Arch ISO. This is what you use to create a live environment or a bootable ISO or an installable ISO or a root file system or a tarball or whatever else. This is Void Linux tool that they use that allows you to do this stuff. So we're going to make a live image today. We're going to make a couple, actually. We're going to make a live image that we can boot into and just show you how this works. It's going to be very basic. It's not going to have the Void installer or anything like that. We're just going to get into a live system. Then we're also going to make a live ISO, which is going to have a desktop environment on it. It's going to have a custom wallpaper that you can set on it. It's going to have some custom programs in there. We're going to do some configuration files in it. So when you boot into this system, it's going to be your custom system on this ISO. But not only that, you're going to have the option and the ability to use the Void installer and install that as is onto your system. So what you see on that ISO, you will have on your machine when you boot into your machine if you install it on bare metal. So we're going to walk through it. We're going to walk through a basic live environment creation. We're going to walk through a custom ISO creation. And at the end, we're going to have a bootable ISO that you can install on your system that's going to be all yours. We're not getting too crazy with this. I'm not doing a window manager and all kinds of custom configs and stuff like that. I'm going to do the Cinnamon desktop environment. I'm going to do some Firefox and maybe add Alacrity to it, some NeoVim. Just add a few programs so you can see how to do it. We're going to just add a custom PS1 into our .bashrc, so that way you can have a custom prompt and show you how to move your custom configuration files over. All super simple, but all definitely going to teach you what you need to know to do it to a greater extent. So Void MK Live, like I said, is the toolkit from Void Linux that allows you to do this. We're on their GitHub page right here. It's called the Void Linux Live Image Root FS Generator and Installer. It contains several utilities you can see right here. You've got your workflow. You got little descriptions on how to do this. You got some dependencies and kernel command line parameters. We are going to use one of those. Excuse me 1 second. I apologize. Allergy season is coming around here, so my throat's a little scratchy. I might have to pause occasionally to sneeze or cough or whatever. I want to keep that stuff out of the video. But we're going to use the live auto login for our ISO. This just gives you the other kernel command line parameters you can use, some examples on how to use them, and then down here you have the usage on all the scripts. We're going to have the mklive.sh. That's going to be the first one we use with very few flags. We're not going to include packages or anything on this. We're just going to show you how to make a very basic bootable Void Linux ISO for a live environment, no installer, nothing like that. And then the second one we're going to use the make ISO.sh. This is going to create our custom ISO, and it's going to have our custom programs and stuff like that in it. But if you're interested in doing this, I highly recommend checking it out. Again, it's at github.com, Void Linux, Void MK Live. Sorry about that. I will put a link to that in the description of the video, so you can definitely check it out. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go to workspace number 1 here. We're going to launch a terminal. We are going to zoom in a little bit, and we are going to get started on this. First off, what you're going to do is you're going to need to install some dependencies. So to get set up, we are going to actually install what we need to install. So we're going to need a Void Linux environment. Obviously, we've got that right here. It's on my system. It's what I use. It's what I've used for a long time. You can do this in a VM if you want. I don't know what the repercussions of that would be. If there's any problems with that, I wouldn't think so. Now, as far as using something like distro box or an ISO image or something, or excuse me, Docker image or something like that, I'm not positive how that works. I'm not real familiar with using those and if there's any headaches involved with that, but I would highly recommend either being in a virtual machine when you do this or actually on a Void setup. So what we're going to do first is we're going to need to install a few dependencies, which is going to be git, make, base devel, and dialog. So if you don't have those installed, you'll need to install them. So you just do sudo xbps-install-s and we need base, devel, git, make, and dialog. I have these installed. I'm not going to try and install them again because it'll just say already installed, but you're going to need to do that. So once you get that done, then you are going to need to clone the Void MK Live repository. So what you do is not got, I do got it, but git clone, and we're going to do https:// and then obviously github.com, and we're going to do /void-linux and then /void-mklive. So we're going to clone into that repository. It's going to bring down everything you need, all the different scripts, all the different wrappers, everything you need to do that. So again, I have that done already. So we are going to cd into my .local programs void mklive. Right there, you can see we've got it. I've got all the different scripts and everything down. I also have this my custom dir right here. So if we cd into my_custom dir and hit enter, you can see inside there I have an etc and a usr. So if I cd into etc, you can see I've got skel. If I cd into skel, it is empty. So let's go back and let's go back. And if I cd into user, let's clear the screen. You can see I've got share, cd into share. I've got backgrounds, cd into backgrounds. I have nothing in there. It's empty. So let's cd back. Oh, excuse me 1 second. So now we're going to cd ... again and cd ... again. Now, okay, so now we're in void mklive. So what you're going to want to do to get all that in is you're going to want to do mkdir from your void mklive directory or wherever you want to store this custom directory. This custom directory is where we're going to be putting our wallpaper, any custom config files we want to use, anything like that is going to go into this directory. Now I have it inside my void mklive directory. You can put it anywhere on your machine. We're going to use it a little bit later, and I'll show you, what we're going to do. So you're going to need to remember the path to it. So we're going to do mkdir-p, and then we're in the current directory, but we're going to do a my custom dir, and then obviously we want this etc skel. So you're going to want to run that command, and then you're going to want to run user share backgrounds and run that. That's going to create the directories you need to actually have your custom background wallpaper and your custom configuration files. So again, it doesn't need to be in your void mklive directory. You can put it anywhere you want, but make sure you remember where you put it. So once we're done with that, we are actually going to that's all we need to have on there to actually create our custom. But first off, like I said, we're going to create a standard, just very basic void Linux live environment to be able to put into. So what we're going to do is we're going to try our basic ISO just to get kind of the flow. It's going to be very minimal. It's going to have no frills, anything like that. So basically what we're going to do is we are going to run the command for makelive.sh. We do need to have sudo privilege, and we do need to be able to have a virtual machine create, whether you're using Virt Manager or VirtualBox or whatever. So if we want it, so we can check out this ISO. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the sudo command. We're going to give it the // and we're going to do mklive.sh. We're going to give it the -a flag to set the architecture. We want x86_64 for the architecture, and then we're going to give it the -o flag for the output file name. So for the output file, we just want this ISO. We'll just call it sample. We'll just call it sample.iso, and we're going to hit enter. Now we're going to enter our super secret password. We're going to hit enter again, and it is going to sync everything up, and it is going to build this ISO. Now this is going to take about 10 minutes or so. It's going to go through, and it's going to get everything it needs, pull it down to build this ISO, and it's going to build it. So I'm going to pause the video here for a few minutes while this builds. I'm going to grab something to drink because my throat's starting to get scratchy, and I will be back with you shortly. Okay, there we go. So that didn't take too terribly long, not quite 10 minutes, maybe just 2 or 3 minutes, because there's really not much to the live environment. So we do now have a live ISO. If I can clear the screen and hit LS, you can see right here we have sample.iso. Ignore this one right here. This was one I made during practice, but we have sample.iso. That's the one we just created. So what we're going to do now is we are actually going to boot into that sample ISO. So we're going to go to workspace 3 here. We're going to go ahead and launch a terminal. We're going to zoom in a little bit. I am going to cd into instavm, Hit enter. We're going to clear the screen. We're going to do add vm.sh and hit enter. So welcome to InstaVM. Let's install a new virtual machine. Okay, what distro is it? It is going to be sample void. How many CPUs? We'll give it 6. How much memory? 4098. Oh, not 408. Let's go ahead and clear that and start over again. My keyboard's getting old. The keys are it's about time to be replaced. So we'll do sample void 6 4098 path to ISO. So that ISO was in my /home /Jake /local. Sorry, this is gonna take a minute. /programs void mk live and then it was sample.iso. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. Disk size, we'll do 30. Type of ISO, we'll do, or type of OS, we'll do Linux 2020. And we're going to do UEFI. So please verify all the information and settings are correct. Chosen distro, sample void, yes. Number of CPUs, 6, correct. Total memory, 4098. Path to ISO, home jake.local programs, void mk live, sample ISO, that's correct. Disk size, 30 gigabytes. Linux or type of OS Linux 2020, boot mode UEFI. Is that correct? Yes. So we are pending. Give it a second here. Now we are going to boot into our live ISO. So we're going to hit enter. This will give it a second to actually boot in. But once we get booted in, you'll see that just like that, we created an ISO. Latest and greatest, up to date, very no frills, very basic, but a working ISO that will give us that live environment that we want. We can take it anywhere, put it on a USB, log into it, whatever. So if we do root and hit enter, there you go. We are logged in. And if we I can't do NeoFetch or anything like that, but you can see maybe it's a very small screen, but you can see that it did boot in. We have a working ISO and everything is good to go. So what we're going to do now is we are going to power off. I'm just going to destroy this anyway because I don't really want it, but we're going to let it do that, and I'm going to close that. Okay. Now give me 1 second to do some cleanup. We're going to do virsh list -- all, and that's going to show me all of them. And you can see I've got sample void running. So we're going to do virsh, and we're going to do destroy sample. Boy, I can't type today. Void. So that's been destroyed now, and we're going to do virsh undefine and -- nvram since it's a UEFI. And we're going to do sample void and hit enter. It's been undefined. Now if I do a virsh list -- all and hit enter, you can see it's no longer there. But you can see it created the sample void. We were able to boot into it. Nice and easy. Whole 9, just like that. You had something that worked and ready to go. So let's go back to workspace number 1 here, back into our void mk live directory. And now let's go ahead and create our custom ISO that we wanted to create. So for our custom ISO, I want to do the Cinnamon desktop environment. I don't do desktop environments very often. I don't want to do a window manager because I don't want to have this video take 30, 40, 50 minutes. It's already going to be long enough as it is, and I want people to be able to see this, watch it, get an idea of what's going on in the quickest amount of time possible. I'm not trying to be lazy. I just want people to actually watch the whole thing so they can get a grasp on what's going on. So I'll quit rambling, I guess. So I want the Cinnamon desktop. We're going to do Firefox just to have show you that we can install a web browser. We'll do NeoVim. I'll put like Alacrity on there. I'm not going to put any fonts, so the Alacrity, fonts might be a little funky when we boot in and launch Alacrity, but you'll see that it's on there, it's installed, ready to go. We're going to store a custom wallpaper, so that way when we boot into the ISO, we can set that wallpaper. Again, there is a way you can have it set on its own automatically. I just haven't been able to get that to work. I'm doing something wrong. Obviously, it's me, not the system, but you can have it done that way. If you're curious, go ahead and dig into that more, but I'm going to have it so we at least puts our wallpaper that we want on that ISO, so we can set it on the ISO, and when we install everything onto the system, if we install it, we have that wallpaper ready and available for us when we do it. So we'll have that wallpaper. I'm going to have a slightly tweaked .bashrc. It's going to be very basic. It's just going to have the PS1 in it. That's going to just be changed a little bit to show you that you can put a custom configuration file in there. It's going to have the Void installer, so we can do the Void installer on it, and we can walk through that Void installer to see all the new changes Void has made since they've updated that. And it's going to have the auto login for the live mode to keep it nice and smooth. We can just boot in without having to log in to the live ISO. So for this, we're not going to use the mklive.sh. We are going to use the mkiso.sh. But to do that, we're going to have to use a special -- flag to actually pass some parameters into the Void mklive section. I'll show you when we do that. So, excuse me, let me catch my breath for a second, because again, allergy season just has me going all kinds of crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our configuration file folder to actually have our configuration files and our background wallpaper that we want ready to go onto the ISO. If you look right here, you can see I've already got my custom dir. We talked about creating those directories underneath that. I think that was in this description. So let's go ahead and cd into my custom dir and hit enter. You can see we've got etc and usr. Let's actually do this the easy way and go into Ranger. So we've got etc, skel, and that's empty, and we have user share backgrounds. So those are all in the my custom dir directory that's inside our Void Linux or Void installer, Void mklive directory. Now again, they don't have to be in that directory. They can be anywhere you want on your system. Just make sure you know where they are on your system, because we're going to need to access that directory or reference that directory. So let's go ahead and quit out of Ranger. Let's clear the screen. Let's cd back into just our Void mklive directory. So we are now in our Void mklive directory. We have our custom configuration directory set up with our etc skel and our user share backgrounds. So we need those for our configuration file. Now, what we're going to do now is we are going to actually put something into that etc skel directory, and that is going to be our custom.bashrc. I say custom.bashrc, but it's really just a bashrc with a ps1 in it. So let's do echo, and I'm just going to press up because I already did this once. I don't want to type this whole command again, but we're going to echo the ps1 we want, and we're going to append that or input that or direct that into our home.local programs void mklive my custom dir etc skel.bashrc. So we're going to do that. We're going to hit enter. Now, if we actually run Ranger again and we go down into our my custom dir etc skel, you can see we've got that .bashrc, and inside that .bashrc is our ps1 that we just created. So let's go ahead and escape. Let's write and quit. Let's quit out of there. We're back in our Void mklive. Now, what we're going to do now is let's actually do this the easy way. Let's go into Ranger again. Sorry, we're going back and forth. I'm going to go over to my images directory, which is down here in my home directory. We're just going to go into pictures. Let's go to wallpapers, and let's go to Void, and we'll just take hyperlink Void. Let's just take this guy, Void Rainbow PNG. So let's yank that, and let's go back to .local programs Void mklive, and inside mklive we're going to go into that my custom dir. We're going to go into user share backgrounds, and we are going to paste that there. So now we have our Void Rainbow.png inside our custom directory for our custom ISO. I'm sorry, this is very convoluted sounding. I tried to make this as easy as possible, but hopefully you guys are following me. I will actually write a blog post about this on my website as well, walking through this process. So if this video gets confusing, the video will be on there, and I'll have the full breakdown typed out so you can read it and follow. Maybe that'll be a little easier. But anyway, I digress. So now we've got that. What we're going to do now is we actually need to verify that everything's in place. So I'm just reading my notes here real quick. So we've got everything in place. We've got our wallpaper in place. We have our .bashrc. So now what we're going to do is we are going to use that make iso.sh tool, and we are going to add the flags we need to include certain programs, to include that directory that's got our custom folder and our custom wallpaper and our custom files in it. And this is the command we're going to need to do that. Again, we're going to need to use sudo. Got to have sudo privilege to do this, and we're going to do the mkiso.sh. We're not using the mklive, we're using mkiso. Now, for the mkiso, we are going to give it the -a flag. And again, we're going to do x86_64. So we're going to give it that. And we're going to give it the -b flag. And the -b flag, we are going to tell it which environment we want. So we want the cinnamon environment. Actually, let's take a look real quick here. If we go back to workspace number 2, and if we come down here to the make live, you can see that, or excuse me, make ISO, where was it? Right here, the -B variant. So the -B is the different ones you can choose that they actually make on their own. Like you can choose from XFCE, Mate, Cinnamon, GNOME, KDE, all that stuff. If you wanted to use like a window manager or whatever, I believe you would use the -B base, and then in your packages, you would say you want to install, say you want to do Awesome Window Manager or whatever. You would have it install Awesome Window Manager that way, if I remember correctly. But anyway, for now, we're going to use one of theirs. That's the Cinnamon. This one already has the installer and stuff, so we're going to use that variant. So we're going to use Cinnamon. So we're going to give it the -B cinnamon, and then we're going to give it the --. Now this right here is what we need to do. We have to have this --, and this will actually tell it to use the MK Live when it comes to installing programs and adding custom configuration files and stuff like that. So the --, tells it to use the MK Live, basically. I don't know if that's the actual technical description of what it does, but you have to have that --, in there for it to do that. So we're going to give it the --, and then we're going to give it space -P. And in that, we're going to do NeoVim. What else did I say I was going to install? Alacrity. Firefox. Did I say I was going to install anything else? Alacrity, NeoVim, Firefox. What else would I put in there that we can just... that should be fine, right? Yeah, so we'll just leave it at that for now. So double quote that. So we've got Alacrity, we've got NeoVim, we've got Firefox. Now let's go ahead and give it the -L flag. So the -L flag, or excuse me, not the -L, -I flag. And what the -I flag does is now we are going to point that to our custom directory. So we're going to do /home/jake.local programs void MK Live my custom directory, and then quote that. Do we need to quote that? I don't think we do need to quote that. No, so we just got to point it to -I and then point it to that directory. We only need to go to that directory. We don't need to point it to every single directory beneath that directory. We just need to point it to that directory. So then once we do that, we are going to give it the -C, the capital C, and we're going to double quote, and we're going to say live.autologin. And we are going to double quote that, and we are going to give it the -O flag, and we're going to call this Cinavoid.iso. So what we got again here is we're going to do sudo mkiso.sh. We're going to give it the -A for the architecture, the -B, and then the variant we want, which is Cinnamon. So that's going to give us the Cinnamon desktop. It's going to give us the display manager, all the stuff that goes along with Cinnamon. It's going to give us the void installer on that because we're using the MKISO as opposed to the MK Live. And then we give it the --, basically to tell it to be able to use the flags and use MK Live to install, our programs, NeoVim, Alacrity, Firefox. And then we're going to go ahead and give it the -I, and that's going to be home, or the path to our custom directory made with our custom wallpaper and our custom .bashrc. So home jake.local programs, void MK Live, my custom dir. Then we give it the -C and give it the live auto login. That's the command line parameter, or the kernel parameter that allows it for live login. And then we're going to give it the output file name of cinavoid.iso. So then we're going to go ahead and hit enter. We're going to enter our super secret password, hit enter again. Now again, this one's going to take a little bit longer because we've got more entailed in this. We've got a full desktop environment. We've got the Void installer. We've got Firefox. We've got NeoVim and Alacrity. We have stuff actually going on to this one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pause this video while this builds, and I will be back with you shortly. And again, once this is done, we will actually create a VM. We'll boot into this thing, and this time we'll actually run through the install process and install this on our virtual machine. So I'll be back with you shortly. All right, and just like that, we are done. It has successfully created our Cinavoid ISO. So if we clear the screen and do an LS and we look, right, where are we? Maybe. There we are. Cinevoid ISO right there. It was the very first one in line. So we did create it. So now what we're going to do is we are going to actually go and boot into it. So let's go back over to Workspace 3. Let's clear the screen. We're in our Insta VM still. So let's do add VM. Add VM.sh, excuse me. We're going to hit enter. Welcome to InstaVM. Let's add a new virtual machine. So this one is Cinevoid, and we're going to do the same thing. 6, 30. Oh, no, we're not doing 30. Let's do that again. Oh, today's been a long day. So add VM. So now we are going to do what distro? Cinevoid. How many CPUs? 6. How much mem? 4098. Path to ISO. That is home. Jake. .local programs, sorry. Programs, void MK live. I could have put this in an easier place to find, but that would make things too easy, and well, I don't do that. Cinevoid.iso. So disk size, we're going to do 30. Linux 2020, UEFI. Enter. So please verify all the information and settings are correct. Chosen distro, Cinevoid, correct. That is our Cinevoid ISO. Number of CPUs, 6. Total mem 4098. Path to ISO, home jake.local programs, void mk live, cinevoid.iso, correct. Disk size 30, type of OS, Linux 2020, UEFI, is this correct? Yes, enter. So we are going to append to that. We are going to hit enter. You can see we now have Void Linux ISO going live. Let's see when we boot into this. We're going to check for a few things. Do we have Firefox installed? Do we have Alacrity installed? Did our wallpaper get carried over? And do we have that custom.bashrc set in there? So it is now booting in. See if the live auto login works. So automatic login, yes. Now we have gone to a black screen. So give it just a second. It should bring up Cinnamon Desktop. Fingers crossed, and we should be good to go. So, I see a cursor, and we have a Cinnamon Desktop. Look at that. So we have our Cinnamon Desktop. If we go into our deal here and hit, let's see. Oh, we got NeoVim right there, so it did install NeoVim. We do have Alacrity right there. Let's go into our wallpapers, or into our file system, and let's go into User Share Wallpapers. User Share Backgrounds, void rainbow PNG. So we have that set. So basically what we can do here is we can go customize, or no, we don't want that. We want to go, sorry, it's been a while since I've used Cinnamon. So let's do backgrounds, hit enter. And now we're going to add, and then we're going to go to other locations, the main computer, that was in user, share, and backgrounds, not wallpapers. But that's all the way at the bottom because things are backwards. Golly, it's been a long time since I've used an actual desktop environment. So we're going to open that. So if we scroll down here to the bottom, you can see we got backgrounds. So now we can double click that and we have set our wallpaper. We have our custom wallpaper set. We have Alacrity installed. We have NeoVim installed. We have Firefox installed, obviously. Excuse me one second. Sorry about that. So we have Firefox installed. We have everything we need. So if we actually go in here and we launch, actually first things first, let's check and make sure our .bashrc got in there. So we are going to go home, and we should have, let's see here, a .bashrc right there. Let's see what it has in it. There it is. We have our PS1 that we created custom. That's in the correct location. So let's go ahead and open our Alacrity terminal and see what we got. So we have an on void live. It just created a green prompt is all I wanted it to do, which it did. It shows you can add that custom bashrc. So now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to run sudo, and we're going to do void-installer. And we're going to hit enter. And look at that. We've got the void installer up and going. So let's go ahead and actually take this and move it to workspace 4. So we've got a full screen. And now we are going to go back and we're going to run through the install. Now you can see this is a little bit different looking than the Void installer used to be. They've changed it up a little bit. There's been some improvements on it. So they've got a little welcome screen here. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. Now a lot of it's still the same, but they did add some functionality to actually make this a little bit better of a user experience. So we're going to go ahead and set the keyboard. We're going to set it to English because, well, I'm in America. We're going to set up the network. It's going to scan. It says, yep, the network's working properly. So let's go to source. We're going to do set source installation. So now you can do network, which is only going to do a base system. It's just going to download things from the repository, or you can do local. Local is actually going to put what you have installed on this ISO on your machine. So you're going to want to go with the local if you want this custom setup installed. So we're going to hit OK for local. So we're going to select a mirror. Sure, why not? OK, so I am in North America, and we'll just use the Chicago mirrors. Continue. Updating the mirrors, okay. So we're going to go ahead and set a host name. We're going to do Cinavoid and hit OK. Locale. So we're scanning for locales. I am EN US UTF-8. So let me scroll all the way down here right there and hit enter. Time zone, again, we're in America and Chicago. For the time zone, set a root password. We're going to set a super secret password. And hit enter. Now we're going to do a user account. Set primary username and password. I don't want the primary username to be Jake. So we will, or I don't want it to be Void. We're going to have it be Jake. So then we're going to do that again and hit enter. Now we're going to do a password for Jake. Add a strong super secret password again. Now we can select group memberships. I'm not going to go through all that, but you can go through this and select which groups you want to be part of. We're just going to leave it as is for now. Set disk to install bootloader. So far, everything looks like it's the same as it was before, which is pretty well the case. But so we want to do the VDA. It's the only one we've got. So yes, graphical bootloader. We're going to partition disks now. So we do want to use the dev.vda or -vda. That's our virtual machine. So go ahead and hit enter. Now you can use CF disk or F disk. We're going to go ahead and use CF disk. But right here, like it did on the other one as well, it's going to tell you for BIOS systems, MBR or GPT partition, blah, blah, blah. We have an EFI system or UEFI. So for EFI systems, GPT is mandatory and a FAT32 partition with at least 100 MB. Must be created with the EFI file system. It will be used at /boot, /EFI. So that's perfectly fine. We're going to hit OK. We're going to do GPT. We're going to take our free space. We're going to partition it. We're going to do 258 capital M. We're going to hit enter. Now we're going to go over here to type, and we're going to go all the way up to the top to EFI system. Now scroll down to the free space, hit new. We're going to say 13G, hit enter, go over to type, hit enter, and that is going to be Linux root x86-64. So now we're going to go down to free space again, hit new, 16. We're going to just take the rest of it. We're going to go over to type, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to go to Linux home. And we're going to hit enter. So now we have 3 partitions here. We've got our dev VDA1, which is going to be our EFI system, VDA2, which is our root system, and VDA3, which is Linux home. So we've got all that down. We're going to go over here to write. We're going to say yes. You have to type full yes. Hit enter. Partition table has been altered. We can now quit. So file systems, configure file systems and mount points. Hit that next. VDA1, we are going to do VFAT. It's going to be at, remember, /boot /EFI. And hit enter. Yes. And then 2, we have all different options: BTRFX, X2, X3, X4, F2FS, swap that, and XFS. We're just going to do ext4. That's going to be our root file system. Yes. And then 3, we're going to do ext4 again, and that is going to be root home. And we're going to hit enter. So create a new file system. Yes, we are done with that. So we want to go to done, hit enter. So we've configured the file systems and mount points. So now we're going to go to install. So we're going to start installation with the save settings, hit enter. Do you want to continue? Yes, we do. This is going to take a minute. It's going to actually install everything, and we'll get back to you in just a moment. Okay, so now it's gone through and it's installed everything, and we now have the opportunity to select services we want to enable at boot. So yes, we do want Network Manager enabled, even though I'm not going to be using Wi-Fi since it's on a virtual machine. You can do ACPID, ALSA. So if you want sound and everything all set. D-bus is already set up, DHCPCD. You can do Ethernet, elogin D, IP tables, all this stuff, light DM, pull kit. A lot of it's already pre-selected that you would normally choose, but if you wanted anything extra, you could go through here right now, select that you want, go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to apply them, and it says it has been installed successfully. Do you want to reboot the system now? We're going to select yes. It's going to go ahead and shut down, reboot my system, and I should have Void Linux with Cinnamon installed, ready to go with my wallpaper available to be set, and with my programs that I selected already installed, and my configuration for my bash RC set. So we're going to get a login environment here. So yep, let's go ahead and enter our super secret password. We're going to hit enter and give it a second here. And bam, we have Cinnamon Void logged in. So let's go ahead and go down here and click on that. And we have Firefox web browser. We have Alacrity. So we've got our programs we installed. Did we have NeoVim? Yep, we have NeoVim installed. So let's go ahead and launch Alacrity here and see if we just have that green prompt again. We do. It's just our name and our host name, but it is green and it is all set. So if we actually cat out our .bashrc, you can see that's all it is just that custom prompt we created. So that works. Now if we go into our file system and we go into, let's see here, our user share. Actually, that's not all what we need to do. We'll just come in here and do backgrounds and hit enter. And we will add a directory. And again, we'll go to other locations, computer, we'll do user, share, and then all the way down towards the bottom, we'll have backgrounds, and we'll hit open. So that adds that. And then if we click on that, we have our rainbow and we can set it. And bam, just like that, we have a system that's installed. It has all the programs we want. You can have a custom environment you want, and it's all that super easy with using the Void MK Live tool. It's a great tool, just one of the other reasons I love Void so much. So go ahead and play around with it. If you love Void as much as I do and you want to have a custom setup that you can take anywhere, or you can have a backup on an ISO, so if anything goes wrong, you can just stick that ISO in and bam, reinstall your system, reinstall a fresh system, whatever you want to do, custom, out of the box, out of the gate, super cool, super easy. I hope you guys liked this. I hope it was helpful to you, and if you didn't know about that Void MK Live tool, you do now. Check it out. It's super cool. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. Stay safe, and God bless.